Tonight, new theories and clarifications in the latest new Q posts that we went over in the last episode. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, every episode starts the exact same way. I say thank you to all the subscribers because there are new subscribers every episode, and I'm so thankful. You guys don't know how much that means. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, we're going to get right into it where basically I made an error. This picture is not related to Hawaii whatsoever, and I apologize for basically putting it in there. I never examined this story that far, and it was just kind of falling out of my memory, so I finally got it back. But you guys corrected me pretty instantly, and it's referring obviously now in retrospect to the Whidbey missile launch. Now, what this is it's talking about a set of weather cameras that are webcams set up by skunkbayweather.com. And these are monitoring an area of Washington. And in Washington, we had this anomaly. The camera actually picked up what would appear to be a missile being launched. Now, this has a lot to do with everything that we covered in the last video, so it's not much in here is wrong, other than the point of me not getting that this was two separate events, besides the fact that there was the Hawaii event and that this was not a video from that event. It was a video from the Skunk Bay event. So I misspoke, and I apologize for that. But we're making the clarification here so that you guys get the truth as it is. So what's interesting about all this? Well, first off, you have the media trying to portray this as a airplane. They want to tell you that that's a chemtrail, so that the picture that you're seeing here is basically a chemtrail that's being hit by the sun in a certain way, and that there's no possible way that that's a missile. That's what this story actually goes on to say, if you could believe that. And they're talking about how it was picked up by this camera. It kind of shows the vectors of the camera here, if you guys want to see that. And they say that it was picked up by camera 4, which they said is a wider angle view of this camera 2 section. So if you're looking at it, this is the water inlets of Washington State, and it's picked up this actual, I believe, rocket being fired. But that is my take on it. Now, we can go ahead and just examine that and the evidence, but here's an incredible piece given to us by an anon who's talking about what this rocket may have meant. And I thought this was very important. It says, to clarify, 1, a narrative was pushed that China can hack U.S. subs. Think hack. And these are posts looking back at Q posts, highlighting them. The sub was hacked by black hats, those expletive with its communication, or effing with its communications, rendering it with only one channel of comms dark. This channel led to the mole in Washington who ordered the captain to shoot. The captain, unable to verify or contact anyone else, had to follow the order. The missile was intercepted by F-16s using a classified weapons system. I thought this was a great interpretation of exactly what happened, because it's told to us later here that it was washed, and we're like, what does that mean, right? So a couple posts later, you actually see Q in response to an anon. An anon says, who has the authority to launch a missile? Q said, unauthorized. So, and then Q responds, given chain of command process to launch, what does this tell you? Classified, remove Washington minutes after. And that's what's being suggested here, is that somebody, okay, so let's put this together. China can hack the communications between the subs and Washington, presumably the Pentagon. And if they were able to do that and convince one of our own subs that it's been ordered to launch a missile, that would be a hack, right? And if they were also able to convince that sub that there were no other form of communications available to it, because it's a submarine and completely out there in the open, vulnerable. I mean, if they get an order and they can't verify it, they have to assume that we're in some kind of war type situation. So they're probably going to launch that missile. just hypothetically speaking. It says the channel that was used to order the captain of the sub to shoot the missile led back to whoever this person in Washington or the Pentagon or wherever was giving that order. See, the order was coordinated with an attack on the comms of the sub. This is just all conjecture. It's all speculation. It says the captain was unable to verify or contact anyone else and had to follow that order. So imagine if you have a commanding officer who calls you up, say an admiral in the Pentagon, and says, we need you to strike this target immediately. And then you have some sort of secondary verification system, but it's completely offline. And maybe the situation's portrayed to you that you're in some kind of imminent threat, danger position. As a captain of a sub, just like as a captain of a ship or a captain of anything, you're going to have to make that decision. And you have the authority in the moment to make a decision based on what circumstances are presented to you at the moment. That is a part of leadership. That is a part of being a person of action. And that's the kind of people we want running our ships and doing these kind of things. But that can be used against them. And that's what's being explained here. Then it says the F-16s were brought in to shoot down that missile. And this is after Hawaii. So Hawaii was something totally different. Hawaii was the message on the cell phone saying that a missile threat was inbound. Whatever happened there, I mean, you have basically Q saying that POTUS went and rerouted. I mean, what I've taken from it is that POTUS went to Hawaii to collect the information himself based on or off of what happened, doing an investigation. Because if this is actually happening where somehow the Chinese, in conjunction with deep state evil scum, have decided to sell our country out and do these kind of things, then it would only make sense that the President of the United States would have to go there for himself and say, look, what is going on here? What kind of madness have we unleashed with you people here running this station and putting out this alert, whether the missile threat was real or not, right? And they've already said, there's rogue subs. Was it a missing sub? Was it some kind of, in Hawaii, was there an actual threat? Was the sub destroyed? I don't know. I wish I had those answers. I wish I could give them to you. But I can only report to you what we've talked about so far. And I wanted to make this clear because I got it kind of wrong in the last video. And I wanted to kind of go over what exactly could have happened, what the possibilities are, and what we should be really focusing on, which is what happened up in Washington. What does this all have to do with anything, right? So that being said, that was an interesting piece I wanted to bring back to your attention to go ahead and just review it one more time. Now, I think I got a lot of the stuff, all my thoughts on Facebook and China were pretty spot on, and I'm not going to go over any of that again. If you guys want to get those, they're definitely in this video, and it's worth a watch, even though, they demonetize everything, right? It's fun. Yay. Whatever. I don't care. I care about getting the message out. I care about getting God's word out. I don't care about the money for 1 second. That is the last thing motivating me. The first thing is God. The second thing is my patriotic duty, my country, and my love of my family. And the third thing is being able to provide for my family. So I do put that on the back burner sometimes, and to my own detriment, but that's fine because I'm here literally blessed to be able to bring you guys this information. And if you guys want to catch up on it, I encourage you to watch these videos that they try to basically keep you from watching. Because I'm just convinced that when they demonetize stuff, it all gets delisted. Because what is the incentive for them to put my video first if it's not monetized? I mean, that's the whole thing that I don't get. Is like, what would be their incentive to even advertise my video at all? Because they're not going to make any money off it. So why would they give two flips about where my video lands or who it's seen by? And if you see what happens on Twitter with the shadow banning, and you see what's happening on all the other platforms, Facebook, you really think I don't think I'm crazy. I really think that there's something going on here that I can't see. But that's fine. I'll leave that to you guys, and I'm going to put that to God because I put my faith in God every single day. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about was this last few posts here, and I thought it was so cool. Like, could it be possible that Q is giving us a nod about the 4 servers, device test 4 times, 3 with different letters? Huh. Does that remind you of anything that we've talked about possibly here? The DNC server with the files transferred by Seth Rich to Julian Assange, the House Democratic Caucus server with the being managed by Imran Awan and containing all of the Congressman DNC emails. Private Clinton private email server, the one that had all the special access program information that Hillary Clinton was allegedly never read in on, and allegedly that information ended up on a server in a coffee shop or something in a basement somewhere outside of a secure location? Or is it the one that was set up over allegedly by Eric Schmidt in North Korea, the Gmail dead drop server, as I've explained before, where they use it as a dead drop? If you could imagine back in the Cold War days when they would go and put a little X on a bench and leave a letter behind it, and then somebody else would come a day later and pick up the message. That's exactly what that was. They would go in, they would write a draft email, they would share the login credentials with one another so that they could log in and read the drafts without actually ever having to send an email over the internet. But they were so foolish and stupid they didn't realize that if it's saved to the Google Cloud, it is going to be collected. So they thought they were safe because they were working with Eric Schmidt, and they were wrong. So could that be what this is? Is it referring to that? I mean, I thought that was an interesting take. Somebody had pointed that out to me, and I thought, yeah, I'll look at that. That's very interesting. So I thought I'd bring that to your attention. Now, another thing is John Brennan. So we were talking about this, the launch of this, the alleged launch of this missile here out of Washington. And what would be funny to note is that the day of that launch, you actually have, who, John Brennan, the one and only raisin-faced turd muffin himself, communist sympathizer, former director of the CIA, coming out and saying, this is literally the day of, your wrong-headed protectionist policies and antics are damaging our global standing as well as our national interests. Your worldview does not represent American ideals. To allies and friends, be patient. Mr. Trump is a temporary aberration. The America you once knew will return. Now, if that's not a threat to the President of the United States, I'm not sure what is. Because let's just be quite frank here. What John Brennan is basically saying is that to everyone out there who made deals with the deep state to establish the New World Order so we could have the Illuminati, globalist, Satanist, pedophilia, Luciferian reign, just hold on, we'll get rid of Trump, don't worry. Of course, I'm just using my own artistic interpretation there, but let's be honest. It's quite laughable to think that a former director of the CIA has the ability to speak on behalf of the American people to foreign dignitaries, foreign states, to foreign entities, and say that they need to be patient because they're going to basically get rid of Trump. He's a temporary aberration. And promising that the America they once knew, presumably the one where Obama was in control with Hillary Clinton and the deep state, that will be returning soon. Coming to a theater near you, don't worry. I mean, guys, I cannot. You sit here and you read this stuff and you go, what? Did he really just say that? I mean, did he think that was a good idea? But that's what they do. And we're going to study in the next video or two. I promise we're going to study Serial Brain 2's latest post, which actually cover this in better detail than I can. But I can tell you, John Brennan's been doing this for a while. And apparently, according to Serial Brain 2, who I think is a very valid and trustworthy resource, you actually have this incredible coded messages they use. They use different ways of coding numbers with letters and coded number values to send messages secretly. So, for instance, I was reading out of Serial Brain 2's post that 187 days after John Brennan's, I believe, first tweet. We had the what happened on at JFK with that airplane that was surrounded by police vehicles, and they went on and pulled somebody off, and they basically thwarted, allegedly, a terrorist attack. Well, that was supposed to be a message coded with numbers, according to Serial Brain 2, and that's the kind of stuff that they do. Because they can't take credit for what they do, they have to take credit in a very secretive way. But it's also a message to those who know the language. And that's what we have seen here over and over again. And it's beyond deplorable and sick. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I told you guys this was going to be a quick video. I want to say thank you all for coming here and joining me today. A few things I want to talk about before we go. If you're looking to support the channel, the best way, obviously, is to come here if you have not already. Click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, so these videos get posted, be notified. But the second best way is to scroll down at the end of this video and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights in the comment board and in the comments. And we don't just talk about Q. We talk about everything that's going on in the mainstream media and what they won't cover, really. And that's kind of the primary focus down there. Now, if you guys are looking to support the channel another way, there's a couple ways to do it. Come over to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. You can search Just Informed Talk. When you come to this landing page, click this button, become a patron, and you can check out my rewards and goals. It's pretty cool. It helps out the channel big time in the face of all this complete discriminatory practice of YouTube. You know, I need all the help I can get. So please come here and support me on Patreon. Also, I set up this fund. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. And this is just, I'm not trying to hit this goal or anything. Some people don't like Patreon because it's a monthly donation. So if you guys want to just give a one-time donation, real easy and quick, please come over here to gofundme.com/just-informed. These two ways are just the way I think you guys can help out the most, and I really appreciate it as far as financially goes. Now, over here on Twitter, you guys can, obviously, like I have said before, you can come follow me at Justin_formed on Twitter. You can come check out all my latest posts. This was something I thought was interesting because we've been talking so much about shadow banning lately. Well, right here, I've been just put up a poll really quick, and it's got 240 votes already. But I just asked if you guys believe that shadow banning is basically based on your own political views. And 87% of you have said yes. And I think that's incredibly telling about what this shadow banning is really about. It's about silencing people like ourselves with similar viewpoints from being able to spread the truth as we see it. So it's obviously, as Matt Gaetz pointed out, it's an unfair advantage for our political rivals to be able to spread their message unimpeded while we ourselves are subject to the shadow banning phenomena. And if you guys think I'm, making it up, I myself actually found out that my channel is as part of the quality filter on Twitter has been shadow banned. So this is great. It's just another example of what we have to deal with on a daily basis. And not to mention, you couple that with what goes on over here on YouTube, where, I put up a video and I request a review, and I'm not, they can do whatever they want with it, but it shouldn't take 10 hours and cost me 42,000 monetized views for them to make their decision on whether or not my video is suitable for advertisers. Because in the cycle that I work in, this 10 to 12 hours is half of the life of the video, if not more. And that's just, like, to me, it's unacceptable. It's a form of discrimination, and they do it to me all the time, and it's a regular thing that occurs. And I'm not trying to poke the bear or get anybody upset, but if I let them take an inch, they're going to take a mile. So I have to point this out, and I have to ask you guys to call them on it and come over here and support me on Twitter, because look, I don't want to deal with it other than to say it's unfair and it's unethical and it's against everything that I think's right and morally just, because I'm not lobbying to have CNN taken off or demonetized or any of these other outlets that want to talk about how we're all fake. I'm just lobbying for my right to speak and to be able to openly compete in the market fairly, right? And that's all I'm asking. So I don't think that's so much to ask, really, in the grand scheme of things. But again, if you guys want to support the channel, come find me in all my different ways, and it really makes a big difference. But before we go, I want to talk about a very important thing. We always talk about God at the end of the videos, and that's, like I said, I'm like a kid at Christmas. I want to save the best for last, the best gift for last. And tonight we're going to talk about three things. These three things, I think, outline exactly how I feel about, what has pushed me to be where I am, what I see in the world, what I think I should do, or what I want to do, and then what I believe God's instructed me to do. And I think that these words can really help you guys out too. I don't say these in strict, context of referring to myself. I really hope these words can speak to you in your hearts. And it's from 1 Timothy chapter 4 through the beginning of chapter 5, and it talks about three things. It talks about the demonic influence that's manifesting itself all around us in this world. It talks about what it means to be a good servant of Jesus Christ. And then it talks about what are the instructions for those who want to practice ministry. And these three, succinct points, I think, outline exactly my thoughts. And I want to just share them with you because sometimes, all the time, God's words are far more influential and better than mine. Unless God's speaking through me, and then it's our words. But now it says, chapter 4, 1 Timothy. Now the Spirit explicitly says that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and the teachings of demons, through the hypocrisy of liars whose consciences are seared. They forbid marriage and demand abstinence from foods that God created to be received with gratitude by those who believe and know the truth. For everything created by God is good, and nothing should be rejected, if it is received with thanksgiving, since it is sanctified by the word of God and by prayer. If you point these things out to the brothers, you will be a good servant of Christ Jesus, nourished by the words of the faith and of the good teaching that you have followed, but have nothing to do with irreverent and silly myths. Rather, train yourself in godliness, for the training of the body has a limited benefit, but godliness is beneficial in every way, since it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. This saying is trustworthy and deserves full acceptance. In fact, we labor and strive for this because we have put our hope in the living God, who is the Savior of everyone, especially of those who believe. Command and teach these things. No one should despise your youth. Instead, you should be an example to the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. Until I have come, give your attention to public reading, exhortation, and teaching. Do not neglect the gift that is in you. It was given to you through prophecy, with the laying on the hands by the council of the elders. Practice these things, be committed to them, so that your progress may be evident to all. Be conscious about yourself and your teaching. Persevere in these things. For by doing this, you will save both yourself and your hearers. Do not rebuke an older man, but exhort him as a father, younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and with all propriety, younger women as sisters. Yeah. So, we'll kind of break it down one by one in three different points. First, it talks about demonic influence. And what stood out to me in that little piece of verse there is it says, in the latter times, some will depart from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and the teachings of demons. And that is so true of the time we are in today here. There are people out there who just believe in this evil and they subscribe to it and they can't get enough of it, and it's what drives their lives. And it's sick and it's sad. But then it says to be a good servant of Christ, you must train your body to love God, but you must train in a way that is beneficial to not just your life here on earth, but your afterlife. So train your mind to think in a way that's bigger than our own existence here on earth. Understanding that when we die, it's not something to be scared of and to be dreaded. It's a point of reuniting ourselves with God and to start a whole new journey. But then what I took the most from is where it gives the instructions for ministry. It says, if you're going to command and teach these things, no one should despise your youth. It says, instead, you should be an example in your speech, in your conduct, in your love, in your faith, in your purity. And until Christ returns to earth, you must present it in to the public in readings and exhortations and teachings. And this is the part I love the most. It says, do not neglect the gift that is in you. We all have a gift in us. Some of us have many gifts. But for me, my gift is to be able to speak, to be able to tell you guys about God, His love, and the truth. These things are what motivate me. These are my gifts. Your gifts may be different. You can spread your own ministry your own way. I want you all to do that. Find what makes you click. Find what makes you have purpose for God. And then go out there and spread that word far and wide, because you know what? Take it from me. I was just a guy talking into a microphone not too long ago, and now I have 100,000 people who join me here to listen to a message that's not from me, it's from God. I'm not saying that God literally talks to me, but I do know that God speaks to my heart. God has brought me everything that I have here. None of this was by myself. I didn't do this on my own. This was with God. And if you bring God in your heart, there's a great plan that's in store for you that you can enact that can possibly change the whole world. So I want you all to take that away if you don't take anything else away from this episode. But I want to say thank you for watching. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Please come here, hit the subscribe button. Please support and contribute to the channel. It makes a big difference. Go down and comment, do all that. And I appreciate all your support otherwise. But we're going to go ahead and sign off. Again, I want to say thank you all for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.